Hi everybody. I wanted to take you through a bit of a live coding session today. I'm looking at an old project that I built about 5 or 6 years ago. It's called Star Wars Twitter Timeline. And I wanted to make a few updates to it. I usually share around this on the 4th of May, which is coming up soon because that's May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day. And hopefully this will be an experience for you to see how I go back and try and update a project that I haven't touched for 5 or 6 years, which should be quite fun in itself. But I think the most interesting thing, especially if you're a coder, is being able to sort of look over my shoulder and see some of the techniques that I use around the terminal. I think one of the things that I found most interesting in the last 4 or 5 years of my career is learning off other people about how to set up the terminal in a more efficient way or a more enjoyable or engaging way. And I certainly feel that I get an awful lot out of my setup. I can get into the flow of coding pretty quickly and be much more efficient, especially on sort of small menial tasks, which can often break your flow. Anyway, I'm going to take you through the project first of all, just to show you what it is. And you'll be able to see at the bottom of the screen the keys that I'm entering, so you can have some idea of how I'm moving about. So in this project, if you enter your Twitter handle, you get your Star Wars Twitter theme. So this pulls off to the Twitter API and pulls in a bunch of data, and then it shows up on the screen. Fantastic. Now, one of the things that I want to do is that when I share this link on Twitter, if I paste it in here and I hit tweet, and you can see that it's there, but if I hit refresh the page, it's still there. If we look at some other previous posts that I've posted, a lot of things on Twitter usually have a nice image and some text, which people find much more interesting. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is that on the browser, I'm not using my mouse to scroll around or to select things. I generally try and keep my hands on the home keys, which if you are doing touch typing, so your right index finger is on the J. And J shifts you down the page, and K shifts you up, and this is using a Chrome extension, which I can share around later. The other thing you might have noticed that some letters popped up on the screen. So if I press the F key, you can see all the links are on the page that are highlighted up. If you press any of those letters, so if I want to tweet, I type the letter E, and I go straight into the text that's there. This means I don't have to move my hands away from the keyboard. So I just scratched my head there, but generally I don't have to move my hands away from the keyboard. So let us go into GitHub, and I'm just going to go to my personal one here. And I want to go and look in my repositories. So again, I press F, I want to find a repository, so I hit the K, and it goes into there. I start typing Star Wars. I hit the escape key to come out of that input box, press the F, and we've got the deal there, which is the Star Wars. So again, I can scroll up and down here. So you can see on the column on the right when the last commits were. So the last commit's 5, maybe 6 years ago. As you can see from the README, it was a 24-hour hackathon, so obviously had no time to write any documentations. We're going to have a quick look at the gem file. So we've got Rails 3.2 to the bottom of the screen. So definitely some old dependencies in here. So who knows if any of this is actually going to work. Generally, most things that I build are in a Docker file. So although there's no documentation, the Docker file usually has the instructions on how to install things and how to get the project running. Fantastic. So first of all, I haven't cloned or downloaded it on this computer. So I'm going to do that, clone or download, and click the J button, Alt Tab, come to the terminal, and do git clone, and I paste that in. Fantastic. So I do most of my coding on the in the terminal, and one of the tools I use is Tmux. So I'll show you what Tmux is. Tmux, you set a new session, we'll call it Star Wars. And basically it looks like you've come back to another terminal. There's a few interesting things here. From here I can split the screen. What I've got is a little template, so if I can press Control B and then S, it splits my terminal up into exactly how I like it. So I've got my code editor in this main screen, and I have two terminal windows over here. So usually what I'm doing is up on this top one is I'll be running like the Rails server. We don't have Rails installed at the moment, but that's where the server is. The one in the bottom right where my face is, that's usually where I work around on the commands, but I will be the top right window. There's a few nice little things. So if I can do Control B, I can move the window around. So the window that was on the top left, I can remove it. Control B and curly bracket moves it up a window in the top of the index. So I can move my windows around. I can make that top right window Control B Z. I can maximize it. Cool. I'm just going to first of all maximize this just so we can do some bits and pieces here. Actually, no, let's change this. So we've got this project. As we briefly saw before, it's running a very old Rails version. So I think what we want to do is to try and use a later Rails version. Rails 3.2, I think, is out of date. And we'll probably also want to use a latest Ruby version. I usually use RBM. So Rails versions. Cool. And look at all versions of Rails. So I think Rails 6 has quite a lot of upgrades, and if you want to get to Rails 6, it generally recommends going to Rails 5 first. So I think let's try, let's do Rails 5.2.4. 5.2.4. You'll notice I'm still not using the mouse, everything's using the keyboard. And I think these are usually the same as the Rails versions. So I can take you through how I'm editing these things a little bit later. Well, actually, if I press U, it's undo. The letter D deletes. T means 2, and then I hit the quote mark, so it deletes everything up to the quote mark. Press I to insert, and I can put the 5. You might have noticed this is Vim on the left-hand side. So again, the interesting thing about Vim is, remember the keys that are used on the browser to go up and down, J and K. Those are the same keys that are used in Vim to move about in the console. These commands are also the same ones that I use to move around the Tmux windows. So if I want to go to the window to the right-hand side, if I do Control B and to the right, L, which is the movement to the right for slightly confusingly in Vim, and I come back Control B, H, which is left, come back to the main Vim screen. Great. That kind of looks fine. I don't even know if we need this anymore. Let's just get rid of some of these versions. So I'm here if I $, and delete the end of the line. Fantastic. And let's do latest. This is Ruby version. 2.7 it looks like. So echo 2.7, 2.7, 2.ruby version, I think. Yeah. This is move.ruby version. It's with a Ruby dash version like that. RPM install. Okay, so 2.7. So what we can do, Control R. So Control R is usually a command where you can go back and look at previous commands you've run. Let's just do this, Control R from up here so you can see it. And again, J and K are my friends. So if I can press Control J and K, I can move up and down this list. So this is really handy. I'm using the same movement keys and everything. So the same movement keys in the browser, the same movement keys in the terminal. And I can come back to this one. And if I hit escape, I can press B to go back. And again, we're use Vim editor. So I'm using Vim in the command line. You can also use standard Emacs boundings. But again, I just really like to have the same keys and in all of them, and I can replace that because remember I didn't do that properly. And the single chevron overwrites whatever's in the file. So if I want to do append to it, I do that, but I want to overwrite it. I can cat that, and escape dot takes the last parameter in there. So escape dot is .ruby version. It's a really nice shortcut. So there we are. So RBMs install. Oh no, so there we are. We've got it. So we've got it already. Fantastic. All the lock file is going to be wrong. So over here we've got the gem file lock. Everything here is going to be wrong. I think we can do bundle update, but I think it's also just as easy just to remove the gemfile.lock. Cool. And we'll do bundle install. Well, that's working away. So what we want, the changes we want to do is that I want to add some metadata to the page. And I wrote in a previous blog post. Let's have a look at all posts. So my blog here. I can search on the page for Twitter and Twitter cards here. I can hit enter. And on this blog post, I detail some instructions about the meta tags that you need to add to the page so that you get a nice preview. So if I share this one in my tweets, and I tweet this, you get a nice card there. And that post, it wasn't much of an interesting card. So look at all posts, and the Summer of Architecture, I think, had it's got much nicer pictures in it. One nice thing, Control-1 takes me to my first tab, Control-2 takes me to my second one. Again, no need to touch the mouse. Control-9 takes you to the last tab on your Chrome browser. And again, come in here, JD in here, Control-V, post that in. I'm going to tweet that. And look at that, beautiful picture of Robbie House in Chicago. Frank Lloyd Wright's one of his masterpiece houses. It used to be like a student accommodation for a while, which is pretty ridiculous. So these pages have some meta tags in them, and we can have a little look at those again. This is installed, but we can have a little look at what are in those. So if you can curl something, that gets the whole page. Another really handy command I really like is FC, and FC lets you edit the last command that you entered. So I could do Control R or up arrow and go to the last command I typed in the terminal. But the editing on the terminal, especially with the Vim mode, is kind of okay, but it's a little tricky. It's not the native Vim experience. So here, what I want to do is pipe grep meta. Let's do that. So what it's going to do is curl the endpoint, get all the page, and then it's just going to search for anything with the meta tag there. And what you do, as soon as you quit the editor, it runs the command. Fantastic. Great. Now, there's a few things I can do here, but one of the great things about Tmux, I've got all these screens, so Control BZ, so I'm maximizing this. If I can do Control B and the square bracket, I can actually move my cursor up and around the screen. So I'm just, again, using my cursor keys to move around. And I kind of know that most of the data has got this Twitter card stuff in it. So, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. So the OG is if I'm sharing onto Facebook. And while I'm in this mode in Tmux, if I press the V key, I can highlight a whole bunch of different data that I want. Dun, dun, dun. Cool. And I hit enter. And that copies it to the clipboard. Cool. Now, sometimes, you're moving around and then I might copy this and I'm like, damn it, and I copied this and I've copied this and I copied this. I copied this and I'm like, oh gosh, I've got it. I don't really want to go back there. So I've got a clipboard editor. So if I do Control-Shift-H, it pulls up my editor, so my clipboard, my history. And again, it's the same keys to move around. So J and K move me up and down in Control. So I can go down here and I can see this is the 5th previous thing that I copied. I can hit enter and that is now there. I'll just hit Control-C because I don't need it there. Again, the same as Vim, if I press the backslash, I can search within this. So search for meta, and I get that. And again, I've got this meta tag here. Fantastic. Cool. So that's the data that I'm going to try and put into the project at some point. Great. So we did bundle install. That's great. So hopefully if we run Rails S, we're going to see if our project works. Let's have a look at the screen. So, great. Config.eagerload is set to nil. Great. So this is probably some changes in the config. So I'm not going to read any documentation. Let's just try and see if we can deal with everything from the error message. So, so we've got the config files over here. I'm moving around on the left-hand side. So this is, so you can see the structure of the project. I can get rid of that, and I could just use Control P and do config. If you've used any other editors, Control P or something similar, it's got a nice fuzzy search there. Development, and again, when I'm here, you can't quite see because of the highlights, but again, I've got two options there. Control K, which is the up arrow, takes me to environments there. So let's just add some stuff at the bottom. And I think we want false. Development. Ooh. If I press the I key, it opens up into another tab. And I can move between these tabs again with the same command. So Control B is the Tmux command. So Control B and L, it takes you over there, and Control B, H comes back. With Vim, I can do Control W and H takes me to the left window. Control B and L takes me right. Again, slightly confusing. Control W, J takes me down. In the production one, I'm going to put this on at the end. Eager load, I usually want true in production. And the last one is test. And again, let's just put that there. And this is a little side project. I don't think there's any tests. Don't tell anybody. Great, save all of that. Cool. Control L is a nice command just to clean the screen. So if I've got some stuff here, Control L just takes you up to the top. And let's do Rails S again. Okay, kind of seems to be running. Let's go and have a little look at localhost 3000 and see if our application is running. Localhost 3000. Undefined method whitelist attributes. Cool. So again, without touching the keyboard, I can set this with the J and K keys just about. That wasn't particularly smooth. And I can copy that. And I can come back to Vim here. AG is my search, and I can search everywhere for wireless attributes. And my guess is that undefined methods, wireless attributes. So I think this is probably an old Rails method, and get rid of that. Fantastic. Let's see if that works. Control R, Rails S. So again, just so you can see that, do Control R. Control R, Rails S. Oh, I think. Oh, what I've done is I've Control Z. I've come out of Tmux, so I want to get back into Tmux. I've actually got another Tmux open. So Tmux is like kind of this. It's your terminal. It keeps the session open, and if I Control Z, I just go back to my normal terminal. Tmux ls, and it lists the sessions that I've got. Tmux attach -t Star Wars. Cool, and I can also, when I'm in here, Control B, so if we can do Control R Rails, it's the top one there. And come back here. Mass assignment sanitizer, mass. We've got we've got it properly here. We can do that. Control C. Again, we haven't touched the mouse. Mass assignment sanitizer, and that's in there. This is again undefined method. Let's get rid of that. Cool, we can delete it in there. One nice thing you can do is, if you've got these two files here, you can run cdo, which works on any of the search files you've got, and then you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to do G, because I copied mass assignment sanitizer, cdo, and it's going to be G. So what this does is it finds any line that's got that line on it, and I pipe in the letter D to it to delete it. And then I pipe to update to save the files. Cool. If I now look, if you're looking at this development file, mass sanitizer is gone. There's nothing here. Mass. If I search for mass, nothing. Right, what is there? That's the comment. I could probably have searched mass. Great. Again, Control R, Rails S. And I hit refresh. Auto explain thresholds in seconds. Auto explain thresholds in seconds. Well, that seems to be not there. Cool. And they might have just happily reloaded. Wow, there we are. Cool, fantastic. So it looks like we are cooking with fire. Let's just try this out. So I'm pretty sure that there are some credentials, and if I'm a good person, then they are not in my GitHub repository. So I'm expecting this to fail. Let's hit enter. Cool. Undefined method OAuth token for Twitter accounts. So cool. So I mean, I think I'm missing my keys, but that looks like a different error because undefined. Oh, hang on. Undefined. Cool. And then we just take the letter V, and then we can take all of that. Because the previous M's are there, and that just looks like a bad method. So maybe we've got an old version of the gem. Let's paste this in. Let's look at this. Stack Overflow is your friend. When's this post from? 2013. So maybe this is it. You're doing the old way. Global configuration. And if we look in here, so this is in the Star Wars Twitter controller. Start a new tab and controller. There we are. So I don't think this is global. This looks like it's in the controller. Anything else in there? Consumer key. Okay, so if you look here, access token, there we are. That's access token there, and here it's OAuth token. So I think we just need to replace OAuth with access. So let's double check. Yeah, change the word. So I did. Well, there's a few things we can do here. So there's loads of different ways. We could find and replace OAuth on the two lines. So you could do dot where we are +1 OAuth this. That's one way of doing it. Just check that that's all right. Dot +1. Cool. That replaced both of them. Another way to do it in Vim is we can record a macro. So I'm going to record a macro in the queue register. F to O. So you're going to go one word. And then you're going to D to the underscore. and then I'm going to insert access, escape, and I'm going to press 1, and then I hit Q, and that is my macro, and then I can just do Q again, and it runs the same one. For this one, it's probably a lot of effort just for the 2 lines, but if I have a massive JSON file or something, then you can record some kind of macro, and that will work. Let's just go and hit refresh here. So cool. I think that's working. I just don't have my config in there. Let's just work on it as it is and assume that when it gets deployed to production, that all the config environments are there. But it kind of feels like everything is working. We've upgraded Rails. We've upgraded the Ruby version. We're kind of cooking with fire. Fantastic. So what do we want to do now? So it's a Rails project. So you're in views, and we've got layouts, and I think that and the Star Wars index page here. There's a show. So for the index page, great. So I think we want to put some header tags in here, and if I search for meta, pick these in, and I'm just going to paste these in. I mean, set paste, which means I could get a nice thing. I'm just going to stick all of these in. So let's just go through all these. We could set them as variables. It's just a little hacky side project. So details there. Star Wars Twitter timeline, and tidy that up a bit. URL. Let's just hardcode this URL in. It's not that at all, is it? And hardcode this URL in here, and then delete there. Delete to the quote mark. What is this? It's a web site. Just a card. Let's do a large image. Twitter site. So that's me. The Twitter title. Well, we had a description here. So I can yank everything inside the quote marks, and I'm going to put it into there. And I'm going to do create that in as well. And the Twitter description, well, it's kind of the same style as Twitter timeline, but let's do this there. So yeah, G colon takes you back to where you last changed everything. Your Twitter timeline in Star Wars style. Fantastic. And this one will be the same to the quote mark. And I'll put that in there and to the quote mark there. Fantastic. We need an image. Okay. We don't have any images here. So let us take an image and so I think what we're going to do is steal a bit of image off the page. And unfortunately, I think, let's see. So I think is this going to be right? So yeah, what we're going to do, I'm going to touch my mouse. I just touched my mouse there. That was the first time. However far we onto the recording. I'm going to shift print screen. I can then copy a big chunk of stuff. That looks like a nice Twitter preview. I can take there. Brilliant. And what I can do is copy that tilde pictures, I think, screenshots. That's today's into public, and let's call it Twitter preview.png. Great, fantastic. And again, I can just go back. Copy that. It's probably a nicer way to do that one. And we can come in here and paste that in. No root matches that. Let's see, because I think it's a new file. I'm going to have to restart the server. Public. No. Have I done something? Yeah, that should be fine, right? Twitter there. Twitter preview top PNG. Look where I am. I'm on my actual. Happens to be best that's actually the real live project. It's not my test one, so I want to come in here. And again, I've got still got that there. I can paste this in. Yay! So I've got a nice image there. It could probably be a little bit better. Fantastic. So I think that's looking pretty good. And the other thing, we can just curl. Let's just swap these screens around. And we're going to curl the local host. Cool, that gets everything. But I want to grep something, so I can type FC again, and come to the end, pipe grep meta, and I come out of the, come out, and it hasn't got anything there because I didn't save the file. And we can just do Control R again. It's the last thing we've got, so just hit enter. Amazing, fantastic. So just going to look up here. So we've got Twitter timeline. Great. Fantastic. Amazing. That's good. Okay, cool. I think we're good to go. Oh, we've got that blog, those images. So, yep, sorry, we need to change those images. So let's have a look here. So we're going to take that there, G colon took us back to where we were. I'm going to take my just preview there, and I'm going to insert it in afterwards. Capital F and quote. Capital F and capital F and quote. Takes me back to that one. That's gone on to another line, I think. Yeah. So that's why F equals, that jumps forwards. Shift P so that it goes in there. D to the quote. Great. Amazing. Fantastic. That's all looking good. Now, most of my projects run in Docker. So let's have a look at the Docker file. Okay, so what do we do? Cat.ruby version was 2.7.0. So let's Docker just kind of gives you a nice recipe so that you can see where things go. So 2.7.0. Let's just assume that everything else install Node. Do we need to install Node? Let's just do that for the moment. I've not. This project doesn't even use any databases, but I think let's get it there. Rails end version. We can split the gem file. So this is just going to split the gem file, and we look at the Rails version in here, right there, and I'm going to put it there. $. I can close the Rails gem version. Gem install Rails. Gem find slot runs up. So these are caching steps to make the build quicker. Bundle install. Cool. Then move that to the middle. Cool. So let's do Docker build dot with a tag of Star Wars. And what did I type? Docker build. So I can just type FC again. This is really handy for correcting all commands. Docker build. Fantastic. Cool. So that is going to hopefully whir away. MySQL client has that. So I think We can probably get rid of my SQL client because apt-get update. Yeah, let's just try this. Docker build, Star Wars. I'm going to swap these two around. Just have a look here. Docker PS, what we've got running. Got an Elasticsearch, and that one's up and running. Oh, this is doing the Gem install. So Docker PS. Cool. So that's doing Gem install. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff down here. Fantastic. Docker, the first time you build anything, takes quite a long time, and then it caches each of the steps. So as long as you don't change too much of the files at certain stages, you get nice quick changes there. Just show you some other things. So, I mean, Tmux I really enjoy because it makes it great for jumping around between projects. We had the send key. So this is the command that is running what shows the keys at the bottom of the page, and it keeps running it there. So, and I can switch between that to Star Wars. It's really handy if I'm looking at some front end and back end projects. I can have their own terminals, have their own setup, exactly like this, that I can move around the screens and just quickly switch between projects. Control B and Shift L takes me to the previous one. So you can just do a nice easy toggle there. Control B W, you can just move around again with the J and K keys and go and find them. So when you get more complex windows, you can go to exactly the window that you want to. Come to here. A few other things, Control B and Q, and then I can hit the number that I want. So Control B Q1 takes me over to the main screen. Control B Q takes me to the seconds. Control B Q2, 3 even, to me down there. Great. I'm going to move this screen, Control B, up to the top right, and we can see that it looks like it's finished. Docker run name star run RF name Star Wars. That's going to be wrong because what did I call it? And it tag was Star Wars as well. RM, not RF. Star Wars, and it's Star Wars -P3000. Let's just map it to the same port. So Docker, you have a port in your Docker container, and you have a port on your host machine. So we're going to map to the same. So hopefully when I go to localhost in a second to the same port 3000, it should be the same. And the one I want to run is called Star Wars. And see, is it --rm? See, --name. Get it right eventually. Cool. Okay, cool. So it's trying to copy across. When we built it, there's a .m5 there, so it can't open it. And if we go back and look in this Docker file at the bottom, let's get to this middle of the screen. It takes that .m5. So I think what we have here is .env, for example. Cool. So there's an example one here. Fantastic. So for the moment, let's copy .env, .example to .env, and we're going to have to do Docker build again. Build -t Star Wars. You see this time super quick. There was one file change. Boom. Docker run that one. Cool. That's a file name. So let's vim.env. As you notice, the my Vim is now in dark mode. It's after 6 p.m. So it changes here. So test. So we could do another. The dollar test f equals Q, and then we do 2 at Q. We just break it a little bit. Didn't quite record the macro properly, but hey, you can just type it in. So let's do that. Docker build, Star Wars, cool, that's great. Docker run, rn Star Wars. Okay, cool. And so if we refresh here, so that's running. It's mapping to port. Let's have a little look. Just to swap these windows. No, I'm going to swap these 2 windows around. Docker PS. It's mapping 3000 to 3000. Local host 3000. I mean, if it wasn't running, if I called another port, there'd be nothing there. So there's obviously something there. Now I think that this is a very old version of Docker. So let's just quickly go and look at run Rails in Docker. Cool. Let's have a look in here. Anything that looks massively different. So it's put 3000. Okay, so command is in there. Cool. So this looks like the command I want to run. So it looks like this is mapping 000 instead of localhost, which is 127. So I'm guessing that's maybe there's some update in Rails that means also update in Docker that means you need to work out and then do Rails S. I think so. I mean, I think this other syntax means that you can pass in other params to it. I think I'm just going to try and stick with this and just see if this works. Docker build, do Star Wars. Cool. Docker PS. Docker kill Star Wars. Cool. Docker PS. See what's running. Cool. Docker run. Cool. Amazing. Fantastic. So there we are. It's running inside my Docker container. That's all good. So I think we're pretty much good to go. So cool. Get status. All right, we could do some really nice things. This is a horrible little, not horrible little. This is a nice side project. So we're going to get add everything. Get add. I don't want to bore you with doing lots of little messages. So upgrade all the things. Actually, get status. Get reset. App. Views, layouts, application. Cool. Git reset public. Git status. Cool. Git. So all the other stuff is bump Rails. Git checkout -b. Let's just do it from here. So git commit feat bump Rails Ruby etc. Upgrade old project. Git add, git commit, add in metadata for Twitter preview. Amend, because we now do feat. The other one was probably a chore, so git rebase -i head to a 2. We can go back and change these. I'm going to reword that. That's a chore. Cool. Git log, we've got those two there. Cool. Git push, let's push it up there. I'm going to set up a new session, new S, and it's called remote server. Cool. And I'm going to log on to my remote server, but first of all, I don't want you to see my password, so I'm going to come into here, and if I can run the commands, and I'm going to come to my remote server and SSH to go. Great. And type in my password. Great, so this is my remote server. L and screen key. I'm going to run that again so you can now see my commands. Control B L. This is my remote server. Yeah, cool. LS and cool. So you can see here, these are all the commands. These are all the projects that are running in my remote server. The cool thing with Tmux, with the Control B and the square bracket, you can go back and, even on the remote server, I can select and highlight bits and pieces. So where are we? We've got Star Wars Twitter. Cool. So it's mapping. Shows from 1 to 3,000. Cool. Great. These are all up 7 days ago, and it's called Mike. It's called Mike MJ Harris. This is an old container I've got. I've built it ages ago and I haven't updated it. So what we can do is probably just pull the where are we? LS CDGA is just fine. We're going to do git pull. Oh, git status. Oh, what have we got in there? Git diff. Oh, I tried to upgrade that before. Git stash. Cool. I'm going to do git pull. I've obviously done some stuff on the remote thing before. Application. Git log. There's obviously playing up here. So git reset. Head. Hard. Head. Git status. Git pull. Great. We've got all of that. Cool. So Docker build the Star Wars new. And the great thing about this is that I'll have my old Star Wars container still up there. So I think in preparation for this, I'd start playing around on the server to add in those tags. That was April 21st. What's the date today? May the 1st. So yeah, I think that was like 10 days ago. I was having a little play around up on here. And then I think I decided that I wanted to try out this recording yourself code. It seems like it's quite an interesting project to do, and it's quite difficult sort of thinking about how to talk through things as you're typing them. I mean, I definitely make mistakes as I go along, but yeah, it's kind of weird as you're typing and talking. You've got to think about things and go slowly through that. The piece of software I'm using to record all of this is called OBS software. So you can kind of see, this is the monitor here. I can move around where my head is. Like that's the background screen. Oh, I use the mouse there. That's why I don't use the mouse, because I'm just terrible at it. So, but anyway, you can move around where you're on the screen, and you kind of it's a pretty cool setup. Let's go back there. This is going to take a little while. Because we're here on our remote server, we can come back and look at the Star Wars server here. I've got the whole of them open there. I really like the CQ command, which is just quits everything without if there's an error. So let's say I've typed FC. and I don't want to, if I escape WQ, it's going to run that command. If I FC and I don't want to run it and escape CQ, it just cancels it. Exit with a bit like if you exit no, signal 1. Let's go and look at our remote server. And we're not on tmux in here, so so one other thing we could have done is from here we could have built the Docker image, we could have pushed the Docker image up, we could have pulled it down, and we could have run it. The other thing I'm hoping is that the .env environment is available in the remote server. And if I'd been clever about this, I would have set up tmux. You can set tmux running inside tmux. So what I would have done is set tmux in there. We could have a little look around the remote server. I've got some various startup scripts. So what I'm going to do, I've labeled this new image. I'm going to get it to run. I'm going to update my scripts that rebuild and runs that. And hopefully everything just works. What else have we got here? Yes, config. So I've got all my config, cd data that are working, config here. So I've got a load of config in here. So this is setting up all the Vim bindings in tmux, and there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff that's set there. What else have I got? My bash aliases. Although having said that, I kind of like control R. It works pretty well for me. So, I control R. When I do git status, it's a few letters. So if I was going to do an alias, I could do that. But I kind of remember most of the things I want to do. So curl, I've got these old curls that I can do here. Docker build, there's all these different things that I can look back at. So you don't need to alias everything. There's a few there. Git log, got a nice log of everything there. Cool. And let's get back to the remote server. Great. So that has tagged to Star Wars latest. So see. So the Docker build, Star Wars -new. Cool. CD deployment. So I don't think there's a Vim restart all Docker containers. Docker kill, Docker OM. Yeah, so we're gonna Docker kill Star Wars. Docker kill Star Wars Twitter. And that should mean that this server doesn't work. Great. So I don't run these things with an RM. So I'm going to do escape dot again. It's Star Wars Twitter. Do this, and it was I'm going to copy all of this. Paste that in there. And what I should have done is put a hashtag. So I've got to have to do Docker kill Star Wars Twitter and RM Star Wars Twitter. Cool. And I want to run it, but I don't want Star Wars Twitter. I want what did I call it? Star Wars new. I think I called it. Great. Cool, that seems to be running. So hopefully refresh this. Amazing. Let's just check if this is working. Great, getting my timeline. So it looks like the env config was in there. Didn't get to see any of that. Fantastic. And the moment of truth. Well, let's first of all look and just check if we're going to actually get what we want. So I can go back and look at the, did we ever curl that one? We didn't. So we're going to curl this, and we're going to pipe grep meta. And if I could remote service, so I thought Docker PS, Star Wars Twitter, Star Wars News, Star Wars Twitter. And let's just have a look in here. G meta. Yeah, so I had all of these and we thought they were fine. Let us double check. See, and what we're going to do is just look at the head of that. I have a funny feeling. Let's do that. And oh, we only changed it on the. I think there's 2 pages. One uses the application layout. So what we want is that it is on this page. So, oh gosh, after all that, there we are. Phew, finally, thank you. I thought we were in real trouble there. So there's some horrible layout there. And so the real moment of truth is if we go and share this on paste it in here. We're going to tweet it. Let's refresh. Something went wrong. Something wrong with Twitter, and we're going to tweet it. Let's just have a look. Test. Maybe just paste that in. Cool. Something wrong with Twitter there. Boom, 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 bottom, boom, 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 bottom. I'm going to validate Twitter card. I hit my yeah, so it kind of says that it should look a bit like that. That's what we input, so I'm just trying to hope that really doesn't like that, does it? I think let's just see if this is because do we think it's because it's not HTTPS? So let us check in here, certbot. I don't think I've done a let's do Star Wars, change certificate. Let's not redirect because we've got the wrong thing in there, so that's cool, great. This means that we've got HTTPS. That's working. Let's see. Let's refresh this. Paste it in. Cool. And let's just do a big refresh. Yes, there we are. Oh, and it looks like the old HTTP one. Oh, maybe because that was a HTTPS anyway. For some reason, Twitter was playing funky. This old one worked. So great. We've got a nice image in there. We've got the Twitter preview. We're looking good. I could update the README. But yeah, successful. We've played around. We've taken a 5-year-old project. We've only touched the mouse a couple of times. I think I did it once to get to take this image. I think I clicked it one other time when I was at the card validator. I'm not against using the mouse, but I definitely find it much easier if I keep my hands on the keyboard. One thing, J and K is take you up and down. You can search on the page. Then I can come to my tmux control. I can use J and K to go up and down to try and find the right application I want. I can do, again, Control B left. I can open up the README. I can go J and K up and down. I can go L and H. And the other command that I really like is Control R. So I can go up and down, and it's got this fuzzy searching. So get status. You can start seeing all of that. Fantastic. Great. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I will probably try and do this again sometime. But yeah, any comments, let me know. I'll post it up. I'm going to write a little blog post, and yeah, enjoy.